Lord, good morning, everyone. Um,
Morning.
I
Morning.
have to say, I can barely keep up posting the artist update with all the wonderful work that's coming through. And when I say wonderful, I really mean it. Um, I was saying to Cheryl that with these books, especially, I sort of feel like when I was a kid, my mother had me paste in the S&H green stamps, to fill it up. So I said, I'm sort of feeling like that where I have to fill up the book and get all the pages, and so you guys are filling up your grids and your pages, and it's wonderful. Absolutely. Not only are you filling them, but you're filling them with beautiful work. And
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
so thankful to see that. Today we're going to be covering a few things. I wanted to say that two of my books are filled, and I'm just going to give you a quick show on that. This one is the one that was more graphic, where I had the lily pads, then I put in the Red Shoes Ballet, and then on the back I added the two, that the one that we did with the watercolor pencil, and then the one that was like a Valentine kind of box of candy. So this one is pretty much done, which had the six pictures. Then the very first one, which is the same thing with six pictures. And here, you guys saw that. And then I put the ocean
Mm,
scene on the back.
oh,
So
nice.
those two are complete. The one that I'm working on, which has many more spots to fill, but I did paste in, this is the one, I think there might be 12 or whatever, but you saw the lettering, and then I put in the fish this week.
Ah,
So, that's continuing, and some of the things from today we'll look at those. What I'd like to do is I have three things on the agenda today. One of them is using a scrubber, but not just to scrub out a mistake or possibly, correct something. I'm using it as a real tool, a real brush, but I'm going to do something really kind of quickly with that. The second thing is putting down a color, doing masking fluid on top of the color, and then putting another color on top of that. And just to show you, I put down a metallic base, then I put some masking fluid on it, and I'm going to put on the other color while we're together, because otherwise things wouldn't dry. And the third thing, I'm going to introduce, we did some what I call foam tray printing. We did that a while back. And what I've done is kind of introduced a little bit of that with painting to the third thing on the agenda today. So let me first of all get to this on the table, if we can, Michelle. Okay, now I was saying too that, not every image is meant to be a painting. Some obviously work better than others. There were things about this poppy in a field that I thought was quite beautiful, because I thought, well, if this was all wet on wet back here in the background, and then you actually painted your two poppies, a third one, it's kind of a mystery, but if you did those kind of in sharp focus and this in soft focus, wouldn't that be interesting? Well, it wasn't that interesting, but I wanted to show you how you can pick something and say, I think this is going to be okay, and then it doesn't always pan out. So this was the reference, and then this was my first layer, where I just laid down, water back here, drop the color in very softly, and when you want an edge of something to get soft, go from the inside where there is no paint with water, and it will soften the edge every time. And then I did some scoring on the poppies, just to pick up the paint that would go inside. I did a tiny bit of masking fluid inside here to accept that color that was that bright yellow. So it was okay, but it wasn't doing much for me. And then the last hurrah was I went back in and looking at the real darks and details. I put them in here and there. I softened some of the areas in the background and added some of this, kind of dry brushy in the foreground. So, this was, and here is kind of the final, what I call the final. And I think it's sort of half successful. I don't like that this actually is falling right in the center. These are okay. This poppy's all right, and this white poppy, it doesn't have much life to it. But you live and you learn, and not everything is going to be exactly what you want. But what I want to show you today is, now this is completely dry, and I have a scrubber here, and I'm going to actually see if I can do something about this, this blob. I'm calling this orange blob in the background. See if I can break it up a little bit to make it possibly a little more interesting. This might work and this might not work, but we'll give it a shot. But the idea is, with a scrubber, you wet the scrubber, you have a completely dry surface. And what I'm going to do is, I would just like to, just like to break this up so it's not just like a blob. And you have to have a paper towel handy as well. And you just lightly, you don't want to dig, you don't want to dig the paper out so that it's, really. And then you have to kind of look at what's going on in the painting as well. So right now, what's happened is, you don't really know what's happening back there, but at least it's not a blob. It has some form, it has some forms to it. But that's what can happen. The other thing you can do is, if we went back and looked at the reference, there's some real white highlight areas that maybe I don't have enough whites to. So I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to dig out some of the color that's in there. And do you see how much brighter that is? It came up in brightness. And those are the kind of things that a scrubber can do for you, besides, alter something. You can alter it. You can make it, possibly improve, and you can brighten certain areas. So now there's a really, really bright white area right here. And, be patient when you're working with a scrubber. Don't go to town. If it doesn't come out the first time, just keep at it. And that's why the advantage of working with really good paper makes a big difference, because you can really work it. All right. So you can see that at least this thing in the background here is breaking up. It's not so, it's more organic. It's not as stiff. And even though I don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. But this is probably one for the bookmark pile.
I'm assume that it's easier to do this with smooth paper.
No, the paper doesn't matter. The paper doesn't matter. In fact, this is cold press, so it has a tooth to it. But the paper doesn't matter. It's just, the strength of the paper does matter.
So Karen, 2 questions.
Sure.
How hard are you pressing?
Not very hard at all. Just
Okay.
enough, and that's the thing. Start out, even if you have to do it a few times, just approach it gently.
Okay. Next question is does it matter, like, when you put the masking fluid on, you need to get it off there pretty quick. When you do something like this, how many days or weeks can I go back to a painting? Is it a time limit thing, or is it kind of whenever?
With masking fluid?
No, with the removing the paint you're doing.
With this scrubbing motion. Oh,
Yes,
this can happen. You can put this away for a long time, and then pick it up later and say, oh, gee, maybe I can turn that into something. Maybe this will get better. No, this, once it's dry, that there's no real time limit on that.
Cool. That looks better already.
It does look better already to me, and I think I'm gonna, get something moving in the background there a little bit. But I just wanted to demonstrate that this is not just for emergencies. Of course, you can see the lights there that now are much better. But, you know, it's a way of getting back to something. There is something I like about this, but there are other things I really don't like. So, put that aside for now. And that's the other thing. Learn to put your work aside and go back to it. That's kind of a relief factor.
Karen.
Aaron,
Yes.
Aaron, is that like a short bristle brush that's very stiff?
It is. It's very stiff. And I'll tell you, I bought this a 3-pack in Hobby Lobby, like large. I mean, this is large. So let me try to get this on an area you can see better. Large, medium, and then there's a really small one for really, detailed work. So,
Okay.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have. I also bought ones, they had them in black and red. I bought them in red so that I could pick them out quickly in my bag.
And are they called scrubber brushes?
They are. In fact, it says scrubber right on it. I don't know whether you can see it.
Okay.
No. Scrubber. Yep, it's called a scrubber.
Okay.
And once you have it, you don't probably never ever need to buy it again because you're not going to wear it out. Believe me, it takes quite a lot of scrubbing. Okay, so that's our first kind of
I have,
lesson.
excuse me, I have a couple of hard bristle brushes. Are
Yeah.
all bristle brushes scrubbers?
No, they're not. They have a certain shape about them. They're kind of, let me see if I can hold it this way. They're kind of flat. You see how flat it is from the side? They're kind of where a bristle brush is kind of round. So you need a flat, if you have a flat bristle brush, say that 3 times, then, that might work. But you can always try it, give it a shot before you invest, but it's not a big investment, believe me. Okay. Any other questions on the scrubber idea? Okay, on to the next. Okay. This, what I have here is, this is the metallic on the background. And what I've done with masking fluid is I put on a K. I had done this a while back, this painting where I dropped paint all on here, and then I tore this K out of another piece of paper. But I always like the feeling of this, so I said, well, for this demonstration, let me give it a shot. The other thing was I had this poem that, and this is one that's finished, so you can see what's happening here. I did put the gold down underneath. Then with masking fluid, balance, never let success go to your head, and never let failure go to your heart. And that's kind of a cool line that I liked. I thought that would be nice for my book, but I'll have to give that another shot. So what I wanted for demonstration purposes today was keep something still, like lettering, but not a full phrase. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to put, this is the metallic is dry, the masking fluid is dry. So now I'm going to mix up a color where I'm going to put it all over the top, and we're going to let that dry, and then hopefully there'll be time for that to dry enough so that it will, be removable. If not, I will post it. But now I'm thinking if I wanted this to go in what I'm calling my orange book, I'm going to mix up something that is kind of a red orange. So let's see. I have like I love this Chinese orange. It's a really nice color. Whether you guys, and like I always say, please try your colors on the side. Now, when you think about going over the gold, you have to think of something that's actually going to really hold up, and it can't be too watery. That's one thing for sure. And you have to mix enough of it, so get a lot on your palette, or you can use those little cups that I sometimes have. And I'm putting a little bit of red in here too. It's really a red orange, so it's going to have some weight to it. So that's pretty fearful. That's an exciting looking color. and I think it'll hold up. Okay, so just so this doesn't run down, I'm going to go right over top, turn your brush on the side, load it up with plenty of paint, turn your brush on the side, and then just go right over top. There's a lot of cool things that happen with metallics that are kind of unplanned. It can be where the metallic, it won't loosen up on you, but what it will do is it'll enhance whatever color you put over top. So, and I'm trying to get this to be, just a flat color. I don't want it to be too gradated or anything. And I put, besides the K in there, I think you guys can see there's some little dots just to show some other shapes and textures. Okay. So that's putting color over color. Now, what if the color was not metallic? What if you just had another color? And then what if you wanted to do a third or fourth color? All of that is possible. You just have to plan. It reminded me a lot of when you're dying, when the Ukrainian eggs, where you have to always think of the color that's underneath, on top, on top, on top, and it's a build. So it's possible to build it. You just have to be really aware of what you're doing, and plan ahead, as they say. Okay, so now I'm just going to let that dry, and then we're going to see what happens. And then you can also paint on top of that still, because the metallic will take any kind of paint over top. So say you wanted to embellish it by putting, maybe a flower in the background. Maybe there's something you want to add. You want to add to this. Maybe you want to add another border or a texture. But right now, I'm just showing you paint over metallic. Okay. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and I'm going to go on to the next idea, which is I have this picture. I'm still in my orange period. You know how us painters, we go through periods of color. These are orange slices, and they have a really interesting texture. All the divisions in an orange have a texture, and then they have the seeds on the side. They have the rim around the edge, and there's a lot going on here. And I didn't really want to start, putting masking fluid. I did put masking fluid for the seeds because I said, well, I want to hold that shape. So let me see if I can get this closer to the camera. There we go. You guys can see that, right? So what I did, I just penciled in, and I took an area of this. I said, well, I can't get all of this in my shape. So I took an area where I folded this back, and I said, okay, I want this main orange. Whoops. I want this one in the corner. Let me just fold this a little bit. Okay. And then and it's very graphic and very interesting to me. But beyond that, here's where I took that with the foam tray printing. This is a sample that I did where I laid down the bright orange, this orange that's in the background. And then I just quickly painted this in here. I took this off of an orange I have because I'm actually going to use that. from the crisper drawer. So I'm going to use that on my final painting. I just thought that was an cool addition. But what I did was I took a piece from the printing tray, and you all know what I mean by foam printing trays. They're ones you get from the food store. So this is it. I cut off a piece, which is this, and then I mimicked with I saw how many divisions there were going around, and then I mimicked the shape of the fibers that were in the orange. So when you look at it, it has a really cool appeal, I think. And I think you could do this with almost, excuse me? Oh, I thought somebody had a question. And I printed that right on top of the bright orange in a darker color so that, you know, I can get the feel of a, you know, painting and printing in one step. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do exactly what I did. I cut this out, have it ready. I'm going to put down some paint, and then I'm going to show you right as I did it, printing right on top of that. Okay, now, you know what, just so we're not distracted, I'm going to put this over here. How's that? Okay. All right. So the orange that I'm going to be using to create the is a cadmium orange on the base. And I think maybe what I'll do is add a little bit of yellow to that. Now, you know, I'm not really looking at the reference that much, although I have it handy because I do want to go back and refer to it. And I'm going to be I didn't put any masking fluid. I'm just going to be leaving that white and leaving it by hand. And I think it has a personality. Whoops, that's not too good. I'm going to, the white that's the rind and then the outer edge of the peel. So I'm going to be, you know, using that. And I'm going to try to leave the areas in between, not necessarily white, but of that lighter orange color coming through, which is what's happening here.
Karen, there's a chat, somebody, Lauren in the chat's asking, I think it's an appropriate time. Where do you get references or inspirations from?
Well, sometimes I get them. I subscribe to a service called Shutterstock, and that's where I've been getting my images from. I get them from magazines. I get them all over. It just depends wherever, you know, I see something that strikes my fancy. But in this case, I was looking for orange orange segments, orange slices. So I went to Shutterstock, and I know you can do that online too with Google. So, but this is one that because I have a graphic design business, that subscription has been with me a long time. Anything else in the chat? Oh, there's some couple in the chat. Please, the reference, and also where did you get? Okay, inspiration. Well, and the inspiration of the printing came from a student that was in our group, Sherry, and she did some actually really fabulous things with this foam tray printing, and I've taken off on that. I just love the idea of it. It has a certain look at certain times. So thank you, Sherry. I don't know if she's with us today. Okay, so let's get to painting, and that's just what I'm going to do here. I'm looking at this color, and I want to test it before I get into it too deeply. I think it needs some yellow. So, what not to do? Don't stick your brush in the yellow. But since I'm trying to be quick, so, and then what you have to also keep in mind is what's going to happen when, you know, if I put this color down and I say, oh, it needs a little more yellow, and then I have to think about the color that's going to go on top. Is there going to be enough of a contrast? Is that going to work? And you can do this with an apple. You can do this with a pear, you know, anything that has some kind of a graphic inside or even a pattern inside. I'm trying to imagine some things cut in half and what they look like. It might be really, really kind of cool. You know, cucumbers. Oh, is Lynn here that did the cucumber? I don't know if she's here today.
Yeah.
Oh, Lynn. Okay. Well, you know, when you did your inside of your cucumber, this would be a wonderful way
Oh,
to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
If you so
Oh,
design.
and I tried the hard bristle brush that I had, the real short one,
Yeah.
for a scrubber, and it did work. I just tried it now.
Oh, good. Okay. So
But it
now,
was flat, like you said, flat. Yeah.
okay, that's the thing. Okay, so now I'm going to be putting in this lighter color around here. just going for it, not being worried that everything is going to be too. And I'm going to go around those seeds a little bit because I really want them to stay on the lighter side. And I wouldn't do too many of these in a row, like right next to each other. And then for the outer skin, I'm going to just put a nice ring around there to hold the place. I can always go back and neaten it up if I care to. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one that's over here. And it's best if you do the printing of your darker color when it's a little bit drier than wet. So you don't want it to be wet, which is what it is right now. Okay, so let me add this. And another thing I would like everybody to try, I would like you to try to do a painting using one size brush. One size brush. See if you can let that happen. You know what? Another one I'll do is the one that's up here in the corner. This one doesn't have any seeds, so I'm going to just do that and put in there. Now, also, I'm painting this kind of on the fast side because I want you guys to see what's going on. Okay, so now there's what's happening. There are more segments underneath, but I want to be able to show you the printing on top and what happens and how cool it really can look and how different. And another technique to enhance your watercolors. This can be done with flowers. It can be done with anything, but I think anything that has some, a texture to it, an inside pattern is nice. Okay, so now here comes the little segment piece. And like I said, let me just go back and reiterate this for 1 minute. Okay, I looked at the piece of art and I actually, let's see. I just want to show you the cutting of the segment piece real quick. Because it's not a science. This is definitely an art. So here's another one that doesn't have anything on it yet. Okay, so then I went in with like a ballpoint pen. I'm going to do this real quick with a pencil, and I looked at the shape of the little segments, and they don't have to be even. They can be a little bit random, but you should look at how they're set up in there. What kind of a pattern does it make? And can you see that? Yeah, right. So you can see what's happening there. All right, I'm going to take the one that I was using. So that's your foam tray printing idea. All right, so now the color of the pattern that I'm going to use, and this really, the paint in this respect should be on the thicker side. Also, when I do this with the foam tray, I take something and after I rough it up a little bit, like there's what is it, Mr. Clean eraser? You can use that. It roughs up the surface and prepares it for printing. That's a good thing. They now have very thin sheets. I saw them in Stop and Shop, and they're in the cleaning aisle, and they are fabulous because you can almost wrap it around your finger and get in there, and it's not like the thicker one. It's the sheet, Mr. Clean sheets. Okay, all right, so here we go. So now I've got this kind of thickish, and I'm going back to you see the difference here of the underneath orange color and the printing color? You can see that it has enough contrast. It's a little bit on the darker side, but I want to use that because I want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, so now I paint all over this little, what you could do too, I thought about this later, is you could probably make one whole orange and do this one, one time. But I got caught up in, so see how that pattern is coming out? And it's really kind of cool. It's something that it's not going to be a planned thing. It's just going to be an arty thing. There's that word arty. So you go around and you just put it on and print it. And before you know it, your orange is segmented. What do they call those? There's something that they call it when you what do they call that? Divines, or there's a word. There's a word for that. But this kind of random printing, and here, if you want to add a little more here and you didn't get enough on, you can go back in. But what happens is when the whole thing is finished, it's gonna be magical in a way. I like the idea of it a lot. When you have one orange slice, the top one, going over the ones that are underneath, you're gonna have cast shadows. You can see it, sorry, you can see it here. You can see it underneath there. And you don't really have to do this segmenting, or you could lighten up the color a little bit on the segmenting in some areas and darken it on others. I think I'm going to try to show you what that looks like if you lighten it up a little bit, because one side of the orange is obviously lighter than the other side, or some areas are lighter. So you can change your printing color. I'm going to add some yellow to this. I'm going to first of all test it and see where it falls. I think it needs to be more yellowy. Okay, put that next to the other paint there so you can see your palette really. And then just go right over top of your little printing thing. I'm going to put it on this side. And that one's a little blobby. That meant that the paint was a little too watery. So we'll go back and try it again. And sometimes the brush just picks up so much water, you have to watch that. Okay. As I'm saying that the left side to my orange is the light side. Now that's better. So you can see this would be the darker side, that would be the lighter side. Any questions? I'm going to finish this this orange going around. Anybody have a question? Anybody in the chat here? No? Okay.
Karen, this is Camille.
Hi,
To
Camille.
Hi. To separate the segments, would you use masking fluid?
Well,
Or-
I opted not to do that this time, just because I wanted to do something with a little different technique. But you could, if you want, if you really wanted a more, I don't want to say exacting, because watercolor is not an exacting process, but sure, you could. Why not? If you want it to be a little more, but you can see it really has a nice feel. It has a, an artistic look about it. And I think interesting. Oh, by the way, Camille, your fish. Oh my God. Wonderful. And Marilyn, where's Marilyn? Oh, you guys did a great job with those goldfish. Wonderful.
Karen, this is a really cool technique. I have a question about lightening the color on watercolor. So
Okay.
when you want to make it darker, you can add like a cool color to a warm or whatever, like the blues or the purples. And when you want to make it, or you can add that neutral.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
What about when you want to make it lighter, but you do not want to add more water?
That's when you have to go to, if you look on the color wheel, what is surrounding, like in this case, the orange, if you go to the lighter side, it's going to go to the yellows. It's going to
Okay.
go to the yellows. It's going to go to the yellow greens, and that will happen. And, you don't have to, let me look at this piece of reference one more time here. I'm looking at the oranges that are back here, and they just look a little bit darker to me. And up here, they look a little bit lighter. So when I go to actually put the color on top here, and here, I will think that way, a little darker here and a little bit lighter here. Let me go even a little bit lighter than I
So
went.
more yellow in the one
Yeah,
and
definitely more yellow. And your yellows, they must have, 30 different yellows out there. I think when I want to go to a really a lighter color, I would go to the lemon yellow because it seems to have the right lightness. And also, watch the water in your brush. That is so key. So now I have these colors and I'm going to go to an even lighter color. This will show you that exactly that question. But
thank you.
you have to make sure that it's not too wet, And I've actually, I've what do you call it? Stamped off some of the color. So now my little printing piece is, and you can do the whole orange. So you can just print it one time, but I didn't do that, but you definitely can do that. All right, so let's see. I'll get some of the water out of my brush, just wet the tip, go back to the lemon yellow area, see how that looks with everything else. Now you can see this is the lemon yellow. This is the orange that I printed on top. This is part of the darker orange I printed, and this is our base color. Can everybody see this little palette here?
Yes.
Okay, that is like so important because before you actually go to your painting, this is going to be the best guide for you. And if you don't like it, or if you think it's not working, and don't just put down that lemon yellow. Get some of what you have used previously, because you don't want it to be so yellow that it doesn't make any sense in the painting. There's also this. I have to get the name of it. It's a really outrageous. I don't know what color gold it is, but it's made by Holbein, and it's got a real long name, and I have to get the name for you, but I can't even explain to you how interesting it is. Okay, so here's that light yellow, and I'm going to put it on this area. Now it may be a little bit too wet, but we'll give it a shot to see. And you can always go back and darken it. So there, I think it's a little, but I don't even mind that it's a little wet, but I don't even mind that it's it's not perfect. After all, it's painting. It's a painting. It's not a photograph. That's what's making it so cool, is that now see there, it's breaking up, and when it dries, you're gonna see the pattern in there. I'm gonna go, and now somebody would say, well, why don't you just add white? Well, because white makes everything chalky. It also makes everything opaque. So that's one thing I would say, try your darndest never to use white. I mean, there will come a time when, oh man, this isn't working. I gotta put a couple of dots of white in there, and I just see how we can do with that. Okay, now there it's a little better. It's getting better as it's going along. I can always go back and do this one again, but that's the thing with this technique. And it's an arty thing. It's not. It's what it's what we're making it here. Okay, and this color I'm talking about, I'm going to put a little bit of that in here. I want to show you that, and if I have a chance before the class ends, I'll dig out that color because I want you to know about it. I'm going to go back on this one to see what happens here. Okay, so there's a little more depth there. Also, what's happening is the printing ink, the printing watercolor is sitting up on the paper. So you have a flat surface for one orange, and then you have, the thicker watercolor is sitting on top, which is really interesting. Okay, let me do one last little piece over there. And I'm going to incorporate some of that gold in here. It's a goldy color. It's so unique. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you can see one's a little darker. That's a little darker than this one, coming around. Now, what happens, you say, from this point? And when you want to just, this little, just dip it in water, your little printing piece, and you wipe it off and voila. Or you can make a new one. It's very simple. Okay, so I'm going to lay this here so you can see what that looks like. But I think it's going to be really, when I see this happening, I see what's happening here. When I looked at the reference, you see the color of the seeds in there. They have a little color to them. So I'm going to put that in right now. And I'm going to look at how that looks with everything else. And you don't want it to blend too much. So go back to the palette on your tabletop. You see, well, how does that look next to the orange that it's going to be next to? Well, that's okay. And, keep it light, and then you can always darken it, go back and darken it. So I'm going to just put something in here. And you notice I have a little masking fluid around it just to hold the place. Okay. So there we go. Now you don't really have to have these white segments. Camille, I think that was part of the question you were asking me. But
Right.
I think once you print your little segment, I think that makes the division so it doesn't have to be white. It
Mhm.
can be white. It doesn't have to be white. Okay,
Karen, can you send us the reference photograph?
I will. Anybody who wants anything I'm showing, please just, send me a little email note and I'll gladly send it to you. Because I
Thank you.
have this one as a high res. So it'll come to you even better.
Ah,
It'll come to you better than what you see here. It'll come as a crisp, beautiful photograph.
mhm.
Okay? All
I
right.
have a question. If you
Sure.
held the photograph up again,
Oh, yeah.
on the left side, on the middle one, down, right there. You see how it's brown around the edge
Like here.
on the inside, right there? And it makes the section look like it's indented. If it's too brown, it looks like it's indented a lot. Is there a way other than, in addition to sort of blotting the brown, to make it come up again? I don't know if that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Well, do you see on my painting here, is that the ring that you're talking about? That outer ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you put a brown on the inner edge of the outer ring, it makes the whole pulp look like it's below the edge.
Oh, I
And
see. Like there's I'm gonna do something right now. Let's see what
Okay.
if I can understand you. You see where I'm painting this in here?
right,
Okay. I would just be very light-handed about it and watch your color. And you see now it looks like it may be sitting down. Also, you can get back in there and you can do, the time spent is going to be everything for here, because you see how that rind has, you see here how it has an edge to it. It's
Mhm.
not just a line. It has an edge like this. I'll show you. So you're going to go here and then you're going to go. So it goes into, it disappears like that.
Oh.
And before you know it, every one of those is going to start to take on that kind of look. You just have to take your time. And between laying down watercolor, putting a little masking fluid, doing your printing, and then going back in. Now is the time to call up all your watercolor master skills. Okay, and believe you me, I know there's a lot of master skills out there because I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them. But I'd like to give you something that will challenge you. Otherwise, you're going to get, oh, sorry, you're going to get in a rut. You're not going to bring up these things. And occasionally, when I first looked at this piece, this piece of image, I said, what's going to make that different? What's going to bring that, you know, some interest in my book? How am I going to, you know, get that to stand out? So then I thought, oh, wow, what about that little printing thing and how it looks and how it's not, how it's irregular. And is Sharon with us today? Sharon Allen, are you
I'm
here?
here.
You're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Isn't this up your alley, honey?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's why I said, oh, please join us today, because I imagine that this would be up your alley. And also Candy. Candy, I know was enjoying the foam printing, and Cheryl. My God, they had such beautiful pieces. Okay, all righty. So any more questions on the orange? And anybody that sends me an email and requests it, I would love for you to try this. It's not easy, but hey, that's when you're going to learn something. It's not easy. Let me show you if this is dry here. Try to lift off that masking fluid with the, you know, the little seeds. And everything that you can do to your painting to add interest. Wow, that, you know, that's another feather in your cap. Now you don't have to leave those white. You can go back in with just water and you can soften them. Just what'll happen is it'll pick up the color that's around it, which, you know, masking fluid is not meant to just be a stark white. So, you know, we know that that's there, and if I don't like it, I'll just lighten it with a paper towel. Okay. All right.
Karen,
Yes.
how would you handle the slices that are underneath that slice?
Oh, underneath on the bottom here?
Yes, yes, please.
I would do it the same way. The only thing is, what I'm going to show you is, you see the coloration difference between here and here? Between the one that's underneath, and that's because it's in shadow. What I would do is probably mix a color. I would do the same kind of printing. I would just mix a color that would, you know, get in there. You're probably going to need a little green in there. You just, yeah, you know, color is half the battle here. And looking at my palette, I'm going to say, oh, how does that feel? You see that color? How does that feel with everything? And I would just go about it the same way, printing anything. And then after everything was dry, after I had printed everything and I got everything, then I would go back and mix a little purple. Let me just, I can't really do this, but I'll demonstrate it anyway. I mix a little purple with some of the orange to create my cast shadow, which is under here. So if I go back and I put this purple on there, you see how it, oh, you can't see it. It'll darken things where you need to darken them. It really works nice. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get back to our K. And I'll cover up this side so we're not too distracted on that. Okay, now hopefully see if I can get this moved over around that way. How's that, better?
Good.
Okay. All right. So now I have my handy dandy, which now we all know that you can get these rubber cement pickups at the dollar store. I'll tell you, John and whoever, Doris was the one who picked up on that for us. Okay. And it does seem dry enough, so I'm Going right ahead. You see how sparkly that is? So nice. This is a great technique, you know, to dress something up when you want to, you know, add a little sparkle, a little bling. Make something a little fancy.
Karen, is that taking off the gold?
No, it's not taking off the gold. It's only taking off the masking. The gold is all flat underneath.
Okay, it looks white from here, but
Oh, it looks white? Oh, no,
might
it's not
be
taking
my
off the,
computer.
let me see if I can. See how sparkly?
That's good.
Okay, so you can see how it's really gold. It's really coming through. You can do it with any color. What if you wanted to do, you know, two colors that work together, you know, a blue and a green? What if you wanted to put down a whole green base? And then you wanted to do your masking fluid design over top and then take it off. You know, let's see. I had another piece of paper here. Oh, here it is. Maybe I can explain this a little differently. Okay, so everybody sees, you know, it'd be great for you to try your initial and try it in several different styles. I have one that's tall, one that's script, one that's all broken up, and then you can get back in. I mean, I'm just gonna go willy-nilly here. I'm famous for willy-nilly. And you know, what other color would I put in there? Oh,
And Karen, this is Sharon.
yes,
Do those metallics come in like copper and silver? And where did you get the?
they do. And you know who, you don't have to buy a set. Somebody gave me a set and that's okay. But if you're going to buy them yourself, buy the ones that strike your fancy. And they have them in Blick. And they also
Okay.
have them, I think, online. I'm trying to think of the name again. Let me get it for you. Hang on. Okay, the one that I like, that I find I get the best results on is called Fine Tech,
Okay.
FINTEC.
Karen, I have to log off. Do you want to stay on your big, or do you want to, where do you want to be? You want to stay
No,
the way?
I'll be on the table. I'll be on the table. I know.
You can automatically remove the spotlight to get yourself back. I'm just going to make you the host because I have to open up another meeting.
Okay, feel better, sweetheart.
You
Karen,
said fine tech? I'm sorry.
Yes, Fine Tech.
Okay.
Here it
Karen,
is.
Karen, this is Cheryl.
Yes, Cheryl.
I have, I think it's 6 pallets that I ordered from Amazon. It's Japanese kuretake, same as that green, you know, the box, the flat box.
Oh, yes,
with the green-
yes.
So this is all together. It's called Starry Colors. This is-
Okay, well, that's a good deal because then you get a few colors instead of just one.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, dark copper, light copper, silver, white, gold, whatever. You can mix them.
Okay, and you know, the other thing, I was just thinking, what would it be like if, you know, we did some kind of printing on top of that? Let me see here. I'm just going to try. Oh, you know what? I think I have something here. This was one, a shape. This is the same thing, the tray. Okay, and what if I, you know, put a color on top of, so it's, just so you know, I'm just going to do this real quick for the question. This was the gold underneath. Okay. After that was dry, I went in and I wrote the K's, or you can write it, or you can write this. You can write oh, good God. You can write a message or a poem or a line that you like. Okay. Then after that dries, you can either take off, like I just did, the masking fluid, or you can leave it on and then paint another color and then take the masking fluid off at the very end. So I was just thinking, wouldn't it be cool just to try to incorporate another idea with this printing thing? So I'm going to, let's see, what color? What color do we like with that really red orange? I don't know. Maybe something that's not too far away. When you look on the color wheel, you want to keep colors that are friendly to each other. What is the word? Analogous? Okay. So I've got this kind of magenta pink, and you don't want it to be too watery again. You want it to be on the thicker side. And I'm gonna put this right over this shape that I have. And I just cut out a circle and, went round and round with a pen just to create. And I'll tell you, you can get some absolutely wonderful results with this stuff. And it's interesting because it's another dimension to your painting. And that's why I sort of like to call the class Watercolor and Beyond, because we're doing watercolor and we're doing other things. So now I'm going to take this and press it right onto the K. And we're all going to be surprised. And that's kind of cool, and this could be done before you take off the masking fluid so that the K would be, completely visible. Okay, does everybody get that?
Nice.
Yes,
What do you think?
Like
Looks
it.
good.
I love it.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay,
It
very
would be
cool.
cool if you put it on before you took off the masking tape.
I'm sorry.
I said, I think it would be cool if you put it on before you took off the masking
Yes.
tape.
Yeah, I agree. Now that I'm looking at this, and then, you don't have to have the whole thing. So I'm going up here now. And then look at that. Yahoo. And this, I'm excited, I guess. And then, and then you just wash this off, and I've had this for a while now because I save these things, and, I make little, and there it is when you print it on the paper towel. So you can do that kind of printing before. Okay. So what we've covered today is we've talked a little bit about the scrubber and letting it be your friend and find things. We talked about putting one color underneath, putting masking fluid, another color on top of that. Then before you remove the masking, hey, try this printing. Try this printing. And then this, this foam printing idea with watercolor. And now I will get back in and I will show you this as my next step, which I like to do because I can't do it all, when we're here together. They're having a bit of trouble with the videoing of this class. So when I see something that I think is like incredibly valuable, I'll try to videotape that of myself and send it as an email if possible. I may give that a try, but and if you have questions, I'll try to answer those as best I can. Oh, let's see, what do we have here? Where do you get your, is the color? Oh, yes, it is. Who said that? Lita. That's the gold. How do you say that, Lita? How do you pronounce that gold?
I think it's quinacridone, but I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Oh, I'm telling you, you got to add that to your palette. It is magical.
Right.
So it's QUIN. Oh, can everybody see the chat?
Yes, if we press on more.
Okay. Try to get that color for yourself. Oh my goodness. It's just magical. You can't imagine what it does. Miss the first half of the when we are recording, it'd be valuable. Well, the recording thing is an issue. And Michelle was just telling me that the gentleman in charge of that, it's not a dependable thing anymore. So you'll have to listen carefully if you have a question, or I can record things, but it's not gonna, I know I love that idea. Let's see. Pearl, Fine Tech also has Pearl colors and the Blick, both store and online. Yes, I bought mine in Blick, and there you can go and look at everything. Oh,
Oh,
the,
oh, right. Okay. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going out until Saturday or Sunday.
Karen?
yes,
What's the quinacridone? What's the rest of the color?
gold. It's just quinacridone gold.
Okay.
And my email again, DILLEDAY14 at AOL.com. I'm trying to have all my things here.
Karen,
Yes,
I'll mention also that burnishing tool that I showed last week
yes.
might also be good for drawing on the foam,
Oh, you're right.
because
Perfect for that.
it has two different sizes, one on each end. One is sort of larger, which would, give a wider stroke, and then there's a thinner one as well. So,
You know what? I have one of those. Let me show that as an example. Hang on.
and it's only at the dollar store, so it doesn't cost much.
No, I know. These are great. These are absolutely. Is it the one that says embossing stylus?
Yes,
Here's what
the
it looks
pink
like.
one, right? It has yeah, that's it.
That's it, guys. Let's see if I can get this in the right position. Okay. And the dollar store has a little section now, and it's called Crafter's Square. What a surprise. I don't get in those stores that often, but I was driven there, John. You
Yeah.
and Doris got me there. And there, you're right. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll show you right now if it'll work on
Yeah,
the
because
phone.
with the two tips, you could get two different widths for.
Yeah. I'm gonna just open it and try it right on the phone. If I can get it open. You know, the packaging today, they don't want you to get it open.
That's true.
What dollar store was that again? I forgot already.
Dollar Tree.
Dollar
Okay.
Tree. Okay, so here's the foam, guys. And let's see. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh my goodness. We've had a new John, you're a resource.
Try the fat end too. Try the
Oh,
other end.
Did you try it yourself?
No, but I figured it would work because
Oh
that's what
my-
it's kind of for.
Oh, it's the heavier end is even better. Wait till I show you guys what this does. Oh my goodness. And you can make dots and you can write with it. Oh, they don't know what they're doing, giving away something for $1. Okay, let me, I'll just do something real quick here. Now this has not been roughed up, so it's a little, you can see the resist is happening there, but that's okay. I just want to show you what happens with that tool. Okay, and sometimes the resist even does neat things. Yeah, look at that. It looks like an owl. Cool. It doesn't take much, kids. We've been in too long. We've been
Karen, we're all in that same club.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you. If it wasn't for my teaching.
The dollar place, the dollar store in the West Orange, the old Kmart, it's now being used as the vaccine center, the Essex County Vaccine Center, and there's a Whole Foods there, and right next door is the dollar store.
Oh, hey.
And that's where I was on Monday, right after getting my second vaccination.
Wow, good for you. But look,
you have that little corner. It's cute.
Look at that. How cool is that? I mean, really. Let's see. You can get back in there and you can take gold and you can I see an owl there. I'm telling you. Ooh.
I'll give you my other dollar store tip. If you're concerned about going into stores with other people, because sometimes the dollar store can get pretty crowded, go very early in the morning when they first open, and I'm finding that there's nobody there.
Ah, Just as
What time
twice.
do they open, John?
8 o'clock.
Ooh,
I'm
good.
not sure if they all open at 8, but the one I'm going to is 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And I'm usually like the only one there with the people stocking the shelves, 2 or 3 other people. So
Okay, so this is called embossing stylus. And it's this little, you know, this little packaging in the crafter square. And here's what it looks like. It has a big end and a small. I'm telling you, this is a wonderful tool. I've been using a ballpoint pen, but I'm sold. I'm definitely sold. And the other thing I picked up there, because, you know, my goodness, piercing and scoring tool. This has a flat end. Oh, sorry, guys. This has a flat end. It could be used for scoring. This has another kind of, scoring on the end. So, my goodness, $2. You know, you can't beat it. You absolutely can't beat it. Okay, any other questions? The foam. Oh, Sharon, you're right. You know, when you go to the dollar store, you can get, I was amazed at this. You know, these trays, these foam trays, 30 for $1. Give me a break. We'll be printing forever. It's absolutely wonderful. So that's the lessons for today. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And, you know, I wish you the best. And I'd like to see somebody try something with, you know, this kind of printing. I'd like to see you do some kind of a vegetable or a fruit. A tomato would be so cool. Love to see you do something with your own initial, maybe with a pattern in the background. And, you know, and something with metallic. Add a little bling to your life. And if you still need something to do, you can, you know, get into a painting where you go back and pick up something that you're not really loving, and you can use your scrubber. Try this whole scrubber idea to soften things, to change a pattern in the background, you know, see what's what. And then get to that foam and look at that guy. Oh my, it looks like a devil owl. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. Anything
Thanks,
else?
Karen. Thank you.
We're good? Okay, I'm
Oh, I
gonna,
don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
please
Thank you,
send
Karen.
Thank you.
me
As
work
usual, thank
questions
you.
or ideas. How's
Thank
your
you,
neck?
Karen.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye,
now.
Karen.
Thanks so
thank
much.
you. Bye.
Okay,
Really
bye,
appreciate
Lauren.
all the
Bye.
great
Lauren.
ideas. I'm inspired. Thank you.
Hi, Lita. Oh, good,
Thank
you need to be
thanks.
inspired.
Great class. Loved
Oh,
it.
thank you. All righty, ladies. It's my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Karen,
Yes,
Ka-
I'm
Karen,
here.
it's Kathy. I'm sorry, I'm new to this. Did you have your email? I didn't see it.
Yes, let's see. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. See where it says Bastille Day? Can you see that?
No, it's not showing up in the chat, Karen.
Oh, I wonder why. Let's see. Oh, you know, it said to Lita, hers is private. Let's see, let me do from another person who,
It's Kathy that's asking?
who is asking?
Yeah, I just asked because I'm new. I've been in on Kathy.
Kathy. Okay, let me give it to you. You have a pencil?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's the French Independence Day. So it's Bastille Day. BASTILLEDAY 14 at AOL.
Okay, and that's all lowercase.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. That's fine.
All right.
Hi, Donna.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Glad to hear from you.
Bye-bye.
The triangle looks like a pizza slice. Hey, Joanne.
I can't
You're
wait
right,
to
it
see her
does.
pizza.
It does. It does look like, hey, well, you could turn it into a pizza. Everybody else? Oh, let me see, Donna. Where'd you got there? Let's see. Oh, look at that. You better send me those. Those are fabulous. I tell you, it's like green stamps. You got to fill them up. You gotta, you gotta
It's a
fill your
work in
books up.
progress. It was hard. Anyway, I'm doing all my theater acting stuff that I liked.
That's wonderful. I love it. Love, love. Okay. And Beth, how's the chunky?
Yeah, well, yeah, still working on that.
Oh, let's see. Is Sandy still here or she left? Oh my goodness. Wait till you guys see her chocolates later. A Mounds bar. Oh my word.
Ooh.
Oh my word. I'm gonna be mounting some more new things today.
Okay, great.
I'll try to get
Alrighty.
chunky to you today.
You will. Oh,
Fabulous.
good. Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, ladies.